So I just realized it's March, and I have yet to even touch the Christmas gifts I got last Christmas. Let's find out what's in the box. Now this past Christmas, I asked Santa Claus for new mufflers for the stupid truck. And he did not disappoint. Not only did he bring me a new pair of mufflers, but he brought me the exact model number that I was after. Huh, how does that happen? I'll tell you how that happens. After 50-something Christmases in my life, I finally figured out that the best Christmas gifts I've ever gotten were the ones that I got for myself. Of course, now that does kill the surprise on Christmas morning. There's always that. After that whole fiasco with the stud welder, I now realize I should have at least opened this box already. Made sure that what I ordered is actually what's in the box. So, let's see. All right, what we have here is a Dynamax Super Turbo. Need to pull the other one out of the box, make sure that it is also the right unit. Now I did go with a center input or output here, offset on the other end. And the reason I did that was because of the placement that it's going in the stupid truck. Now this muffler is reversible, so if you wanted to use that as the input or the output, you can. But for my purposes, that's going to be the input, that's going to be the output, unless we figure out that is not feasible when we get to work on the truck. Got both mufflers out. Hey, got a new sticker. All right, this is a Dynamax 17748 is the model number. I chose it partly because of the thickness of the muffler. I think it might work well for what I need it to do. I saw a online comparison on the YouTube, and I like the sound of this one versus others, but it was on YouTube, so how do you really know what it sounds like till you get it installed? Now it's got a 2.5-inch port on each end. It can be used, this end or either end can be used as the input or the output. So it is reversible. So you can use this for your input or you can use that for your input. Flip it around, make it work how you want it to. I didn't like the length of it, but I think that's what it's going to take in order to give me the best sound that I'm looking for on this project. All right, before we get up in here and just start cutting and welding some pipe together, let's take a minute and plan our work, because there is going to be a lot going on underneath this bed, more so than most people would think. And we need to talk about that and figure it all out, because everything that happens under this bed is an obstacle for our exhaust pipes. Now try to stick with me here, because the first obstacle we got to talk about might sound like it has absolutely nothing to do with the exhaust, but I promise you, it does. Now this truck will have a subwoofer system in the bed that fires into the cab. Most people call it a blow-through. And if you don't know what that means, and I'm sure that you do, but I'm going to explain it anyway. Basically, you cut a hole and put a port between the bed and the cab. You cut one in the bed, cut one in the cab. I've always called it a ported bed, but everybody else calls it a blow-through. Your subwoofer sits in the bed, and the sound blows through the port, which is where the term comes from, into the cab. So for most vehicles, if you want more subs or bigger subs, you angle your subs down. If you need more airspace, you just take up more of the bed. That's not an option on this truck, obviously, because of the frame and the suspension. Now, the next problem is that this truck will have a tilt bed, which means that if the box is in the bed, then the box comes up with the bed. I did that in 1980 something, 87, 88. It had a subwoofer system. I want to say 89, I put a tilt bed on the truck. The box had to come up, which leaves you no way to seal the bed in the cab. What I did was I squeezed a bicycle inner tube in right here and just aired it up anytime that I had bad weather. And it wasn't the most efficient thing. Now, because we can't collect extra airspace by making the box bigger, we have another option. Simply put, all that space below the bed is wasted airspace that can go to the subwoofer. Now, on most trucks, that drive shaft has to be accounted for because it's going to go up and down when the suspension flexes. But not this one. This one has an independent rear suspension. That drive shaft theoretically should never move with the exception of spinning. So all that space from that frame up to that bed can be used in the subwoofer. It just means that the subwoofer has to sit on the frame, not the bed, and then you cut the bottom of the bed out, obviously, and you still have your tilt bed, but your subwoofer does not have to move. Your subs stay put. Now, how does that affect our exhaust? Well, we're bringing the box all the way down. That means there's not enough room to put a muffler under the bed, because normally your muffler would sit roughly right about here. And then the pipe would go out over your axle, out the back of the truck. So that means the muffler is gonna have to go under the cab. I'm not a fan of this, but that's what we gotta do. Now, I know that I don't want the muffler to sit directly under my feet in the wheel well. So we need to put the muffler towards the back of the cab, which means that it's going to go somewhere here and there. So we'll figure that out when we get to it, but that's the obstacle. Now, let me get this bed off this frame and we'll talk about the next obstacle we got to deal with. That much extra weight in the back. Huh? I guess the back weighs more than the front. There we go. Okay, that's what it was. I was trying to go forward. Now, for those of you that are thinking that that's a stupid idea to cut out the bottom of the bed and mount the subwoofer on the frame, you take into consideration from the bottom of that frame up to the bottom of the bed, there's about 5 cubic feet between both sides of the drive shaft that can be additional airspace for that subwoofer box. Now, 5 cubic feet is a massive amount of air to be adding to a box that would normally be mounted in the bed. So, when it's all said and done, that's worth that effort. Plus, it keeps the weight out of the bed whenever it comes time to make the tilt for the bed. This would not be possible without the independent rear suspension, which brings us to our next obstacle. Simply put, like I said earlier, exhaust would normally come down next to the drive shafts, or somewhat, go over the rear axle. But That's not really an option here because there's no room to take it over that axle. And there's one more reason why, and this is why. Your fuel cell's going right here, and that doesn't leave us enough room. The plan is to put the fuel pump on that rail right there. If we try to bring the exhaust over and around, that's not going to really work. So the plan is to bring the exhaust out right here in front of the rear tires at the bottom of the bed. We'll cut the bed out, bring the exhaust out through the bed. That way the exhaust is not the lowest part of the truck. Now you might be thinking I could snake that exhaust up and over and around and down, but take into consideration that this space right here and that side as well will be where the two hydraulic cylinders lift that bed up and down. Now we do have one more box to open, and it's been sitting right there for over 2 years. Let's open it up. When I got this box, I knew what was in it, and I knew I wasn't ready for it, so I never bothered opening it. But now we're learning that the best thing to do when you get a box, open it up, make sure it's what you ordered. So let's make sure that this is what I ordered. Of course, it was 2 years ago, so I don't know. Let's see what's in. This is going to be a surprise to both of us. Let's see what's in the box. We got 90 degree. We got U-shape. Ooh, to go up, I imagine that's to go up over the axle, or might be come out of the header, I don't know. And then we got another one of those that's backwards. Another U-shape. Another 90. A 90. Dang, huh? Let's put in 2 more U-shapes. Another angle. Hopefully there's one more of those. Another 90. Yes, one more angle. And 4 pieces of what look like 4-foot pipes. And I just set all these greasy pipes on my carpeted table. Ooh, that one's more greasy than others. So let's put that down there. This one too. All right. So it appears that we have everything we need to get this exhaust installed, provided that this fits the muffler. Oh no. Okay. That goes on. I wonder. We'll just have to get that figured out. And I'll do that between now and the next video. And hopefully, in the next video, I can turn this pile of metal into a working exhaust system. Let's see what we can do with it. All right, boys and girls, if you're still watching this video, then I assume you at least somewhat like my content and my videos. As odd as that might be. I'm about to shamelessly plug this channel. And understand, my channel is monetized, so if you enjoy this content, there are 2 ways that you can support this channel without costing you 1 single penny. The first thing you can do is watch the video all the way through. That tells the algorithm that it's an enjoyable video, what have you. I don't even care if you just let it play in the background while you go fix something to drink. The second thing you can do is don't skip the advertisements as soon as the skip button pops up. A monetized YouTube channel does not get credit for advertising when you skip the ad right off the bat. Let it play for 5 or 10 seconds, then skip it if you want to. But that will at least give a small channel like this credit for the advertisement. And let's be honest, it's not as bad as a 3-minute commercial on television. I mean, let's be honest. It's not like this channel's big enough to sell merchandise. I mean, what am I going to sell, 6 t-shirts? And I'm not stupid enough to think that somebody actually would pay a Patreon account to watch additional content. So, support me how you can if you want to. A thumbs up and a comment, that goes a long way too. Peace, love, and mini trucks.